Shabbat Shalom. The Torah reading for this week is called Re'eh, which is Hebrew. It means to see. Now, the Re'eh is taken from Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy means repetition of the law, and this is the 47th week of the annual Jewish cycle of the Torah reading that we do. Now, the theme for today is a person holds within his hand the power to do good or evil. Okay, so Deuteronomy, the Re'eh comes from Deuteronomy 11:26 is where it starts. Now, the first word in Deuteronomy 11:26 is to see. Now, some versions say behold, but if you go back to the original Hebrew, it means the first word is see. And it says, see, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. Now, this is God's way of saying, I have some good news and I have some bad news for you. So in 27, he says, the blessing is if you obey the commandments of the Lord, your God, for which I command you today. And in 28, he says, and the curse is if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord, your God, but turn aside from the way which I command you today to go after other gods which you have not known. In 29, it says, now it shall be when the Lord your God has brought you into the land for which you go to possess, that you shall put the blessings on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. And in 32, and you shall be careful to observe all the statutes and judgments which I set before you today. Now, in 12:1, it says, these are the statutes and judgments which you shall be careful to observe in the land which the Lord your God of your fathers is giving you to possess all the days that you live on the earth. And in 12:2 it says, you shall utterly destroy all the places where the nations which you shall dispossess served their gods. The high mountains, the hills, under every tree, destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, and burn their wooden images with fire. Now the Midrash, which is what we take some of this from, is a book of like Jewish history and sayings, and it just has kind of fills in some of the blanks where that the Jewish people have written down through the years. And the Midrash says, if God had forced man to be good, then man would have had no reward for it. If man had to be evil, there could be no punishment, for he had no choice. And therefore, God gave the choice of being good or wicked into man's hands. If he chooses to be pious, he is given his reward. If he chooses to sin, then God punishes him. Now, the way that the Jewish people used to do this is there were two mountains, Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. Now, half of the tribes, 6 tribes, would go up onto Mount Gerizim. The other 6 tribes would go up on Mount Ebal. The 6 tribes on Mount Gerizim would say the curse, the blessings, and the 6 tribes on Mount Ebal would say all the curses. Now, on Mount Gerizim, there was vegetation and trees and so forth. On Mount Ebal, it was barren, where they said the curses. Now, with the 2 mountains, when you looked at them, they were rounded. They looked like 2 shoulders. Now, some of you younger people probably would not remember, but when I was a kid, you would see these cartoons where the devil would be on one shoulder and the angel would be on the other shoulder. And the angel would be saying, do this, and the devil would be, no, don't do that. This is where it comes from. Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim, the blessings and the curses. So they kind of took that from them. And the Lord says that you must worship God on his terms in his house and not on the pagan places. Now, in Deuteronomy 12:11, it says, then there will be the place where the Lord your God chooses to make his name abide. There you shall bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, not where you choose. Now, in 25, it says, for you will be doing what's right in the sight of the Lord, not doing what's right in your own eyes. Now, many Christians, our brethren, if you confront them with a difference of opinion as far as the faith, and you say to them, you should celebrate the Sabbath on the seventh day on Saturday instead of Sunday, they'll look at you and they say, I don't see it that way. Or if you tell them, we should celebrate Passover because Yeshua celebrated Passover, so did all the apostles, and you should celebrate it too. And they'll look at you and they'll say, I don't see it that way. The problem is that they can't see it, they're spiritually blind. So the Lord says, don't follow your own eyes, do what the Lord says. If you worship God in the way you see it instead of the way the Lord says, you will get the curses, not the blessings. And people wonder, why aren't things going well for me? Because they're not doing what the Lord commands, they're doing what they think they should be doing, and they're getting the curses on them without even realizing it. So what we should do is do things the way the Lord wants, not the way that we see it. Shabbat Shalom.